Hello everybody and welcome to the Magical Learning Podcast for this week. For those that are watching the video at home, which I highly recommend, we've got a new technology going on. So we're going to be doing handheld mics. We've got some proper video going. So for those that aren't on the Spotify, go check it out. There'll be a link so you can see the new video. But today we're going to be talking about communicating for impact. And of course, this is our at-home sessions with Kanika and myself. Kanika, how are you going today?
I'm good. The sun is out. I feel like I haven't seen it in maybe a solid week. So mostly just happy that I'm getting some sunshine, getting my work done. My week is slowing down. Very exciting news. How about you, Jez?
I've had a great week, I would say. I just went to the hospital to get some checkups.
Nice.
So far, so good, it seems like. And other than that, I've just been working, and I did some stand-up on the weekend, actually, for people that I was doing about climate change, and that was pretty fun.
Yeah, cool.
You went to?
I did go to.
Well,
and I can confirm it was good.
Nice. Well, I think we can probably start there in
Okay.
terms of talking about communicating for impact, okay? Because I would say the stand-up that I did on the weekend was a great example of communicating for impact, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Because it was for a movement that's trying to sort of, use less coal in Australia.
Yeah.
And so a lot of my stand-up was about that. But the way that it was pitched to me, doing stand-up about climate change, which is not typically what I do stand-up about, but the way it was pitched to me is it's a great way to bring people in that might not be thinking about it, because you hit them with something funny and then you can hit them with the facts as well.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the idea of the whole event.
Yeah.
And I thought it was done pretty well. And
Yeah.
I thought it was a kind of fun way to do it.
Yeah.
Um,
I think I think that is you're right. It's a good place to start with communicating for impact, because I guess you got some clear messaging. There was like some designated outcomes that your stand-up was supposed to have. And therefore, I feel like you knew what you had to do and you could do it. Therefore, you communicated what you needed to impactfully, because I feel like you didn't just go there and do just any kind of stand-up. It was, you went there was an end goal in mind, and you tried to convey a specific message, which I think definitely is what communicating impactfully, that's definitely a part of it. Yeah.
So anyway, that was one element.
Yeah.
But when you think about communicating for impact, what sort of things come up for you?
For me specifically, I guess like the messaging getting across. I feel like I think when people come back with questions, I think the communication has happened with some kind of impact, because if people are coming back with questions, it means they actually listened to what I had to say, So I guess like that could be a telltale sign of communicating for impact. Other than that, what else could be good for communicating for impact? Like we said already. So one point is what you said about the messaging. Oops, sorry. Where there needed to be like good end of like, sorry. At the end of the day, there just needed to be some good messaging. You got getting your point across. That feels like one thing. And I think another thing for me is getting people to respond to me, which I guess like shows me that they were listening, or shows me that they were paying attention, or would show me that like, hey, like we heard what you said, and now these are all these other things that have come up for us based off what you've said. So,
well, I think using that as a sort of jumping off point a little bit, you recently did a class that was about sort of teaching creative writing, and obviously in that context you're trying to communicate for impact. Maybe tell people some of the ideas that you had kind of going into that, and what some of the things that you ended up doing as exercises that I thought were pretty smart as a way to kind of not only show, but like not only tell, but kind of show and allow people to kind of investigate it in their own way.
I say that you've hanging out with me long enough to be using a showing, not telling thing in your...
See? Communicated effectively.
I like that the lingo is being passed around. My friend group casually using terms like world building now. Anyway, that's not the point. So when I went into this class that I did on Friday, for reference, I teach creative writing once in a while and sometimes do like sort of like workshops like this. And I guess for me with this workshop was I wanted people to have a creative challenge where it was specific enough that everyone is sort of on the same page about what's going on, but also leaving enough to the imagination for people to make their own sort of path with it. And I also wanted it to be collaborative, so people build characters together. And I think ultimately at the end of me building this lesson plan, even before I delivered it, what I wanted the outcomes of this lesson plan to be was I wanted to challenge people to be able to write from perspectives that they usually wouldn't write from. I wanted it to be collaborative, to see for like, I guess, the people participating to know what it was like to work with other people. And I guess the collaboration also comes with, like I said, the character building, and then you're just like faced to write a character that you would never actually create yourself. So that pushes you out of your comfort zone a little bit. And I think when you're writing characters, especially that you're not comfortable with, or it's something you would never create, it's like having to view the world from a completely different perspective. And I think that, to me, certainly creates a bit of empathy. So I was just like, I want people to be able to do that a little bit, but I also want them to have fun. And also like teach them about point of view. So obviously there were like some technicalities with character building, traits, whatever. But ultimately I wanted them to flex a creative muscle that they otherwise wouldn't have, and I wanted to challenge them a little bit. But I also wanted them to be able to work with other people and also have fun. And I guess like the way I communicated all of this, so after I ran the class, I am someone who likes feedback. I ask everybody for feedback, sometimes even in weird situations. So when the class was done and everyone was about like 2021, I was like, okay, tell me what you all thought of today. And I was looking at my little checklist of things that I wanted to achieve today. And a couple of them were achieved. So I was like, great. I guess I did do this successfully, because I was like, what did you learn? And everybody seemed to have picked up on certain things that I did want them to pick up on. So I guess that was, for me, communicating for impact. And I guess like sometimes the only way you can know if you've made an impact is if you actually ask. You shouldn't feel silly to ask people like, hey, did that work for you? Or hey, can I do anything differently? Or can I do anything better? Or if this is an outcome that I wanted from this, what could I have done differently to get it if that outcome didn't already happen from what I did? I think people miss humility. I think especially in like when people are in management positions or whatever, they struggle to be like, okay, what could I have done differently, or what could I have done better?
I mean, I think that's an important part of communicating for impact, is understanding and listening as well. It's not just communication isn't just a one-way street.
Absolutely.
When you think of great bits of communication, like for me, when I think of great bits of communication, it doesn't only evoke information, but it also evokes emotion. Like when you think of great speeches or something like that, or when you think of, maybe important conversations you've had, I feel like they also have an emotional level. Do you agree with this statement?